The NBA is a gold mine, but for some rookies, it's a trap. One minute you're holding your first $1 million check. The next, you're pawning watches just to pay rent. Every year, young players step into the league with fame, fortune, and zero financial sense. They've survived the streets, the critics, the draft, but money, that's the battle most of them lose. It's not the game that breaks them. It's the lifestyle, the entourage, the parties, the pressure to look rich even when you're bleeding cash. They buy the cars, the chains, the 10-bedroom homes. They trust shady agents and childhood friends who suddenly become business managers. And when the checks stop coming, the chaos begins. Some fall into addiction. Some end up in prison. Others vanish completely, ghosts of what could have been. These aren't just sad stories, they're warnings. Lessons written in bankruptcies, mugshots, and broken dreams. Today, we're breaking down 15 NBA rookies who hit the league with millions and lost it all before their rookie deals even ended. From locker rooms to courtrooms, from highlight reels to foreclosure lists, this is what happens when the money runs out. And it all starts with one player who went from top draft pick to cautionary tale almost overnight. Chris Washburn had the kind of talent that made people talk in whispers. Drafted 3rd overall in 1986 by the Golden State Warriors, he was supposed to be the future, a dominant big man who could change a franchise. But success came faster than he could handle. Fame, money, and pressure collided with his personal demons, and before long, Washburn was missing practices, showing up late, and falling deep into drug addiction. Within 3 seasons, the NBA had seen enough. He was banned for life after repeated failed drug tests. His promising career burned out before it ever really began. The fortune disappeared just as fast. From luxury homes and flashy cars to sleeping on friends' couches, Washburn's fall was brutal. Years later, he admitted to smoking crack between games, chasing a high that cost him everything. His story is a grim reminder that talent can take you to the top, but only discipline keeps you there. Before we proceed, make sure to hit subscribe, because every week, we uncover the stories behind the glory, the money, the mistakes, and the lessons every player wishes they knew sooner. Javaris Crittenton's story feels like a script Hollywood would reject for being too dark. The Atlanta-born guard was a prodigy, smart, fast, and confident, everything you want in a first-round pick. Drafted by the Lakers in 2007, he seemed set for a bright future. But his rise took a violent turn. In Washington, a petty locker room argument with Gilbert Arenas over a gambling debt escalated into both players pulling guns. The scandal shattered his career, but it was only the beginning. Once out of the league, Crittenton fell into the wrong crowd back home, joining a local gang. In 2011, he was charged and later convicted in connection to the fatal shooting of an innocent woman. A 23-year prison sentence followed, ending not just his career, but his freedom. The millions, the endorsements, the respect, all gone. Crittenton's story isn't about bad luck, it's about bad choices. Robert Swift was living the dream at 18. Drafted straight out of high school in 2004 by the Seattle Supersonics, he had the size, the game, and the money to match. He bought a mansion, filled it with cars, and lived fast. But when injuries cut short his NBA career, the dream fell apart. The checks stopped coming, but the spending didn't. Soon addiction crept in. First alcohol, then harder drugs. By 2013, he was squatting in a trashed, foreclosed home surrounded by garbage, bullets, and empty bottles. His once bright future had dimmed into chaos. Police later found him with heroin and illegal weapons, a headline that summed up just how far he'd fallen. Swift wasn't just another athlete who went broke. He was proof that without guidance, fame can destroy faster than it builds. He had millions at 18 and nothing by 25. No plan, no mentors, no second act, just another lost name in the NBA's long list of wasted potential. Reggie Harding was a monster on the court and a menace off it. Detroit's first real giant. 7 feet tall, mean as hell, and good enough to make the NBA straight out of high school, back when that was unheard of. He should have been a legend. Instead, he became a ghost story. Harding couldn't leave the streets alone. He brought the hood with him, the guns, the booze, the temper. He'd show up to practice armed, threaten teammates, then disappear for weeks. The league gave him chance after chance, but Reggie was fighting demons nobody could coach out of him. When the money ran dry, he went back to Detroit broke and bitter. A year later, he was shot dead in an alley. 26 years old, first high schooler drafted, first to lose it all. Darius Miles had it made. A millionaire teenager with bounce, swagger, and a smile that looked straight off a movie poster. And Hollywood noticed. He was in movies, commercials, magazines. Everybody wanted a piece of D Miles. But fame burns fast when you don't know how to handle it. Injuries killed his game before he hit his prime, and the lifestyle didn't slow down. Luxury cars, bad investments, fake friends, the usual death sentence. By the time the check stopped, he was underwater. bankrupt, depressed, wondering how a $60 million dream turned into a nightmare. For a while, he disappeared completely. Then, years later, he re-emerged, not as a baller, but as a voice. Through his podcast Knuckleheads, Miles started telling the stories nobody warned him about. He lost everything, but at least he's teaching the next generation how not to. Michael Ray Richardson didn't just play basketball, he performed it. The lights of Madison Square Garden, the crowd chanting sugar, and his game sweet enough to back it up. He was smooth, flashy, and lethal until cocaine took control. What started as partying turned into a full-blown addiction. Missed flights, broken promises, games played high. The Knicks couldn't save him. The league couldn't either. In 1986, the NBA made it official, lifetime ban. Just like that, Sugar Ray was gone. No applause, no farewell tour, just another name on the what could have been list. His millions evaporated, his family fractured, and his career became a memory. Years later, he got clean, started coaching overseas, and finally found peace in the same game that almost killed him. He was the man who had it all, and the man who proved how fast it can vanish. Delonte West was never just another player. He was a fighter, the kind who left everything on the floor. Celtics, Cavaliers, Mavericks, he'd been everywhere. But behind the jump shots and defense was a man quietly falling apart. Bipolar disorder, sleepless nights, and an industry that didn't know how to help. He spent his money like pain had an off switch. Cars, guns, wild nights, no breaks. When the game ended, the world got darker. Viral videos showed him barefoot on the streets, muttering, lost, begging for change. It was heartbreaking. The same hands that once fed LeBron alley-oops now holding cardboard signs. Mark Cuban found him, got him help, tried to bring him home. West has stumbled, relapsed, gotten back up. He's proof that money can't fix what's inside, and that surviving sometimes means just refusing to stay down. Jay Vincent wasn't supposed to crash. He was smooth, skilled, consistent. A scorer who didn't need the spotlight. 9 seasons, steady checks, respect from the game. But retirement hit different. He wanted more, wanted control, wanted to stay on top. So he built a company that was supposed to help people find jobs, except it was fake, a full-blown scam. Thousands of victims, millions gone. And Vincent caught right in the middle. The same man who once guarded Magic Johnson was now standing before a judge. Prison stripped away everything. The fame, the freedom, the money. When he got out, he was flipping burgers and shaking hands with fans who barely recognized him. A reminder that bad choices don't care about your stats. They cash in either way. Eddie Curry was living every kid's dream. Straight from high school to the NBA, money pouring in before he could even grow into it. $70 million, just numbers on paper until they vanished. Curry's lifestyle was too big to last. Mansions, cars, private chefs, bad loans. The bills never stopped, and neither did the pressure. Then tragedy tore through his life. His ex-girlfriend and baby daughter murdered in cold blood. It broke him completely. He stopped trusting, stopped caring, and the money ran out faster than his faith. Foreclosures, debt, lawsuits, all of it stacked against him. But years later, you see him talking again, calmer, older, wiser. He's not chasing the game anymore. He's warning the next generation. Curry's story isn't about how he lost millions. It's about how he learned what actually matters. Antoine Walker had charisma that money couldn't buy, and money that charisma couldn't save. 3rd overall pick, Boston icon, NBA champion, over $100 million in the bank. He lived like the checks would never bounce. Bentleys, condos, entourage, private jets, the full superstar package. But the world flipped when the economy crashed. The real estate empire he built turned to dust. The gambling tables took the rest, and by 2010, he was broke. Not just low, broke. From suites in Vegas to a 1-bedroom apartment, Walker hit rock bottom with cameras watching. But here's the twist. He came back smarter. No more bottle service, no more flash. Now he travels the country teaching rookies what he learned the hard way. Money disappears faster than fame, but wisdom lasts. He went from blowing millions to saving lives, a comeback few ever pull off. Vin Baker had the game, the fame, and the $100 million smile. An all-star, an Olympian, the kind of player who looked untouchable. But behind the highlight reels was a man pouring his millions into a bottle. One drink to calm the nerves, another to forget the pressure, until the pressure was all that was left. He burned through contracts, investments, endorsements, gone. The NBA moved on without him, and one day the same hands that once dunked on legends were making lattes at Starbucks. But Vin didn't hide. He rebuilt, sober, grounded, preaching faith over fame. Now he's back on an NBA bench, coaching, teaching, proving that redemption doesn't come from money. It comes from surviving your own worst season. Shawn Kemp didn't need introductions. The Rain Man was the 90s. Thunder dunks, crowd roars, pure electricity. But fame never sleeps, and neither did Kemp. Parties, kids, women, bills, the kind that never stopped coming. When the child support stacked higher than his vertical, the walls started closing in. Drugs, arrests, bad deals, the empire collapsed. For a while, he was another cautionary tale from the golden era. But Kemp flipped the script. Now he's running businesses, opening dispensaries, mentoring youth in the same city that once worshipped his posters. He lost millions, sure, but he gained a mission. He's not the Rain Man anymore. He's the rebuilt man. Joe Smith had the crown before he earned the throne. #1 pick in '95, $60 million waiting to be spent. He thought it would never end. Houses, jewelry, bad contracts, worse advice. Then came the scandal. Secret deal with Minnesota, fines, suspension, reputation in ashes. From prodigy to journeyman, the money melted faster than his playing time. Bankruptcy followed, and with it, silence. But Joe found a different kind of power, truth. These days, he speaks to rookies about financial traps, about how yes men kill more careers than injuries ever did. He's not selling pity, he's selling perspective. Bison Dealey was different. Too deep for fame, too wild for structure. He won a ring with Jordan, signed a $45 million deal, then vanished. No farewell, no injury, just gone, sailing across the Pacific with his girlfriend and his brother. Freedom was his currency, but somewhere out there, paradise turned dark. The boat drifted back without him. His brother confessed, then took his own life. No body, no closure, just mystery. Bison Dele became a legend, not for what he did, but for walking away from everything we're all told to chase. Rick Mahorn was the last guy you wanted to see in the paint. Detroit's enforcer, the muscle behind the bad boys. He wasn't finesse, he was force. But after the banners stopped dropping, real life hit just as hard. Bad business moves, money gone, bankruptcy. For a man who built his name on toughness, that was the biggest fight of all. Mahorn didn't fold though. He coached, he taught, he stayed around the game. You can take away the paycheck, but not the purpose. Mahorn came in swinging, and he's still swinging. Fame doesn't just change people, it exposes them. One day you're a kid with a dream. The next you're a millionaire surrounded by cameras, noise, and temptation. For these 15 players, the money came faster than they could handle. No one teaches you how to say no when everyone around you is saying yes. Agents promise forever, friends turn into accountants, and bad habits turn into headlines. The result? Millions gone, reputations shattered, and futures rewritten. But if you look closer, the pattern isn't greed, it's unpreparedness. The pressure, the sudden spotlight, the belief that the checks will never stop. Addiction took some, pride took others. Poor advice, wild spending, fake friends, all of it played a part. Fame gave them everything, then took it right back. And yet, not all of them stayed down. Vin Baker found peace pouring coffee and faith. Antoine Walker turned bankruptcy into a mission to educate rookies. Darius Miles rebuilt his voice through storytelling. They proved that loss isn't the end, it's the reset. Because money disappears, fame fades, but resilience, that's forever. If there's one lesson in all of this, it's simple. Even millionaires can go broke, unless they learn how to manage what they earn. The game doesn't last forever, but your choices do. Learn from their mistakes, build smarter, live wiser. Because in the end, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep and who you become when the lights go out. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit like and subscribe for more stories about the rise, the fall, and the fight to start over. Because every legend has two stories, the one you know and the one they survived to tell.